10 seconds until race start. Although it's probably going to be a little bit more than that. Alright, lights are going. And it's lights out and away we go. Matt 35 getting off to a good start, but it looks like Reflex has got off to a better start as he gets a little bit ahead of him into turn 1. It looks like Reflex has taken the lead. With Matt 35 close behind him, and then I run a solo right behind him. Cypher going very wide. Well, he's probably not used to these cars. So Cypher on the hards, Laugh also on the hards. Both of them instantly falling back by about 2 seconds. Matt 35 on the mediums. Now looking a good bit in the ways, but he in the lead, but he hits a bump there, which will cost him a little bit of time. Again, that's something that can happen in Australia. It can catch any driver out and lead to a DNF or a big time loss. I've spun myself many times there. No clue whether I've turned DRS on or not. Yep, I've turned DRS on. So both I run at solo and reflex in DRS as Matt 35 sets the fastest lap, and then Laugh sets the fastest lap. Laugh with the 122.1, Matt 35 with the 122.4. It was interesting because Laugh has much worse tires and is a ways back. How does that work? I'm not going to question it. So Reflex on the softer, faster tires, he hits a bump there as well. Doesn't seem like he's capitalizing on it as much as he could be. Wow, I'm seeing a lot of bumps being hit. So we have that leading pack all within DRS of each other, all within a second of each other. Looks like Cypher's had some kind of a, maybe a slowdown. Yeah, he's had a few invalid sectors, as have both Matt and Laugh so far this lap. Cypher now 7 seconds back, Laugh 3 seconds off. Comfortable gap behind. And Reflex with the fastest lap of 1:18.6. So he's kept it clean so far. And he is right on the back of Matt 35. Maybe starting to get really comfortable with those soft tires. Now it looks like Matt has pulled out just a little bit of breathing room, still within DRS, but he's got a little bit more of a cushion now. As he puts in the fastest lap of the race. Still within DRS, we have a train forming right behind him as Reflex just won't let him go. DRXP says Matt 35 domination. I tend to agree, which I'm very happy about. Might throw in a well-timed safety car there. I'm just joking. No biases here. Or so I would have you believe. Reflex is still staying on the back of him, although I Run It Solo has now dropped back, probably looks like gotten some kind of a track limits. Interestingly enough, I Run It Solo last on the timing board with the game saying he has not set a valid lap yet. As Matt crosses the line for lap 5 of 30. And Reflex, it looks like, has gotten a time penalty as well, which gives Matt 35 a little bit of breathing room now. Reflex 3 seconds off. Probably not what he hoped to do with the softs at the start, but we'll see how the strategy works out. The softs did look to be a pretty good tire over 10 laps, at least equal to the mediums. So our fastest laps right now are Matt with a 1:18.4, Reflex 1:18.6, Laugh 1:29, Cypher 1:22.4, and I Run It Solo still with no valid time, apparently. It looks like Matt has gotten a time penalty because he's now back within DRS of Reflex as they come through the high-speed Sector 3. Or they come into the high-speed Sector 3. DRXP would like to take this opportune moment to announce that he is unretiring. After precisely 30 minutes of being retired. Yeah, and now he's trying to say that he never said that. He did actually never say that. Matt 35 is buggering off into the distance with now 7 seconds to I run a solo. And something has happened that I've completely missed, so I'm sorry about that. Reflex is now 19 seconds back behind Laugh, behind I run it solo. Maybe he's pitted? Yes, he has pitted. So Reflex, I assume, pitted very recently, so it made it around 8 laps on the softs. Matt 35 and I run it solo probably targeting something like lap 15, I would assume, for their pit, or maybe a little less. As we ride on board with Laugh, doing Laugh things. Let's look at times. So, Matt 35, his last lap was a 1:19.1. Reflex's last lap was a 1:19.8. So the new hards are approaching the time of the old mediums. I run it solo 124, Laugh 121.2, Cypher 121.9. So the used mediums are still looking to be the fastest of the tires. They still look to have some good time as I run it solo, goes into the gravel, gets a penalty, and spins. As he's now passed by Laugh. Reflex also passes him. That was very costly. I don't think it was a bump. I think it was just a penalty, which is the danger with tracks like this getting penalties. Maybe I'm wrong, but maybe it was a bump. We'll see after this. Cypher 31 seconds back on the hards, doing about equivalent times to Laugh, it seems, so far, who's in second. 13 seconds off. And Matt smacks the wall there, goes into the gravel, gives me a heart attack. Matt now on 2 invalid sectors. So I'm thinking that the mediums at this point are starting to fall off a little bit. As we see the Red Bulls now, within a second of each other, we have Reflex on the newer hards. I run it solo on the 13 lap old mediums. I run it solo. Now not in a good position because he still needs to make his pit after having a costly spin. But he will have DRS down this straight, which should help drag these old tires along a little bit more into better lap times. Is he going to make the pass here? It looks like he's carrying more momentum. He straight up cuts the grass there. Wow. And gets past. Right on the edge of grip. We'll see if Reflex has anything to say about that. Reflex looks like his back passed, using his better tires to gain more momentum. We will review that cut after the race for an intentional corner cut. We will also review the AlphaTauris after the race for going backwards in quali. As now, Matt35 must be feeling very comfortable right now. He's got a 19-second gap back to Laugh, who still needs to pit, so that's a full 19-second gap he's got back to P2. His tires will be coming into the window as he hits a bump there. His tires will be coming into the window right where he's going to probably want to start thinking about pitting. So he's probably going to try and hold on as long as he can to get a nice and comfortable final stint. As he gets a slowdown and loses a good amount of time there. Comes across the line. Well, he will come across the line. Getting ahead of myself. Now he comes across the line. Lap 15 of 30. We're halfway done with the race. He has still not pitted. Laugh has still not pitted. Reflex has pitted. I Run It Solo has not pitted and does not seem to be able to keep up with Reflex on these tires. So his only hope now is to, I suppose, stay on these for as long as possible and overcut. Maybe he could do a two-stop. I don't know. Cypher also has not pitted, I don't believe. 37 seconds back. Once KS pits, because this is a long pit, he could be back close to Cypher. We'll see how that works out. The XP says the hards look really good, and I agree, the hards do look very good for this track, especially 30 minutes. The way that we set the laps is we have a target time that we want for the races, which is 40 minutes. We want 40 minutes of racing, and we divide that by a normal lap time. So those mediums now in lap 16 still certainly not looking amazing. As Laugh comes into pit off the hards on lap 16 onto mediums. So 14 laps to go to the end. They should be able to comfortably make it. I Run It Solo and Matt35 still on the 16 lap old mediums. Let's look at their times. Matt 35 with the 125. Reflex with the 124. So it looks like the hards might be the better tire at this point. I run a solo with a 121.3. His mediums seem to be losing quite a bit of time. We'll see how Laugh does on the new mediums. The second I say that, he hits the wall. And then he jumps. Okay. The answer to that question of how Laugh does on the new mediums, not very well at all. So Laugh rage quits predictably enough, leaving us with 4 drivers left in the race. Reflex inherits the lead as what happened to Matt 35. Is Matt 35 gone? And Matt 35 disconnects. So it's Reflex in the lead. Followed by KS still on the mediums on lap 17. Is he trying to go for softs? 6 seconds back. And then Cypher in P3. Man, Cypher always seems to get good positions. I don't know how he does it. Well, there goes my dreams of Ferrari domination in the first race. Everything always goes wrong for Ferrari. Reflex has a long stint to go though still. As KS is still on the mediums. Even though it looks like he's losing about a second a lap to Reflex. Yep, that is true. So I guess the job for all the remaining participants is don't crash. Honestly, not the way I wanted our first race to go. But, this is what it is. We lost a lot of people. Avalanche spun. Ooh, Cypher goes way wide there. What the heck? Avalanche spun. Which is now very interesting. As I run it solo, gets a track limits penalty there, which will put Reflex back ahead of him. But here's the interesting thing. They might both still have to pit as I run a solo comes in for his pit. Reflex could definitely stay out till the end of the race, but we'll see what tires I run a solo goes on. I run a solo now on the softs, 11 laps to go. We'll see what the gap ends up being. This may very well end up being a very close race between the Red Bulls at the end. We'll see what kind of pace I Run It Solo has, what he can put in on the softs. We'll also see if he can get the point for fastest lap, because only Reflex has gone on soft so far, and he got within 2/10 of the fastest lap. So I Run It Solo, 16 seconds back, with 11 laps to go. That is a very doable gap to get down. And we have Cypher as well, who I don't believe is pitted yet, on lap 19. 35 seconds back. So Cypher's already got the gap down to 15 seconds. Ilias doesn't like Australia. I wonder if he doesn't like Australia because he sucks at it. Food for thought. I also did not like Australia for a long time, and now I think it's alright. I don't love it. It's not the most interesting of tracks. I run it solo now, gap down to 12 seconds. 10 laps to go. 12 seconds is the gap. Yes, Qatar is a terrible track. Qatar is just disgusting in every way imaginable. I run it solo, 19.6. Not anywhere close to the fastest lap, but importantly, Reflex did a 21.6 the last lap. A 2-second difference, and the gap is now down to 11 seconds. What the heck was that? Kiss over here doing mad things. But the gap's now down to 10 seconds. We're gonna have to review this heavily after the race. Cypher now 52 seconds back as he pits for softs. We'll see what kind of times he can do. Bit of a disappointing race for him, I would think. But it's not all doom and gloom because he's, for one, not had the testing I don't think that others have had. And it's still a P3. No matter what he does, unless he crashes. And he hits the wall just to try and prove me right. Interesting strategies there. What has happened? Reflex has felt the need to pit. It's lap 8. Let's see what the gap is. His Reflex on new softs. His softs are going to be what? I believe 4 laps newer, which is pretty significant for softs. As I run it solo, inherits the lead. He is a ways ahead. 6 seconds. 8 laps, 6 seconds. 2 people on softs. Ooh, Reflex with a slowdown there. Everybody on soft now. Let's see what kind of times. So I run it solo from what looked like it was not going to be a great result now to very likely going to win the race. Let's see what Reflex has to say about this, but their pace has been very close throughout all of testing and throughout the race and sprint and quali. I run it solo, purple sector 1, 28.0, fastest of the lap. Fastest of the lap, fastest of the race. And fastest of the lap, sure, why not? Yellow, let's switch to I run it solo. Yellow sector 2, 17.5. I gotta watch this guy. He might be cheating at any moment. Gets a slowdown. That is pretty important. Could put Reflex back in play here. His Reflex is 12 seconds behind. Now will be... Wait for it. Crosses the line. 9 seconds. 9 seconds. 6 laps to go. Ilias comments that KS is killing his tires. The wise words of Ilias. Everybody listens all the time. Gap is still stable at around 9 seconds. Reflex has gotten now a track limits on in sector 1, not a penalty but a warning. He's no doubt pushing. No risk, full push. Hellbent, heaven sent. Gaps up to 10 seconds. 5 laps to go. KS using every bit of the track there. Might have got a little penalty there as well. Reflex, green sector 1, 28-1. Finding pace still. KS with some wild lines as his tires surely are not in the best of states now. And yes, he did get a warning in the sector 3. His last lap, a 1:19.1. Reflex's last lap, a 1:19.2. The gap has been around 10 seconds since Iron Solo got his penalty. Now 4 laps to go. The gap showing no signs of going down as Reflex looks like he has had a mishap of some sort. A track limits, probably. Cypher now 56 seconds back. Whoa. We need to just like move Reflex to Mercedes and KS to Red Bull. I mean, he's already in Red Bull. We need to move Reflex to Mercedes and then ban anybody faster than them. That's the recipe to a great season. Now 2 laps to go. Gap is 12.1. Everything is looking good for I Run It Solo. If he keeps it clean, keeps it out of the wall, he should be cruising home to be the first race winner for PL21 and take the championship lead. And also, since Matt 35 DNF'd, as it stands right now, Reflex will get the fastest lap point. Meaning Red Bull will take away a pretty massive haul of points from this weekend. And I Run It Solo coming down the main straight to start lap 30 of 30, the final lap, as the Red Bull radio says, "Bring it home, KS." No risk, full push. And he hits a big bump there. But no worries, as he gets it right back on track. Probably taking it pretty easy, as he's now in the final sector of the final lap, rounding the final corners. And coming around the final corner down the main straight, I Run It Solo wins the Australian Grand Prix. Reflex now comes down the main straight for P2, and Cypher in about a minute's time will be P3, as long as he doesn't crash. We're all watching you, Cypher. It'd be hilarious if you just put it in the wall for the memes. As he hits the wall a little bit there. So an interesting first race. Very interesting. Let's hope the second race has some better attendance. But I will say already, I think I really like the direction this league is going. And Cypher coming down the main straight for a strong P3. Beautiful.